Welcome to Housing Talk with Sheronica Outlaw and John Ferrara. I am your host, Sheronica Outlaw, and I'm a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway. I service Hudson Valley and all of New York areas. Now, John, it's time I hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, Sheronica. Hey guys, John Ferrara here with ASAP Mortgage. I've been providing the most competitive, personalized mortgage experience for my buyers and homeowners in New York, Connecticut, and Florida for over 2 decades. And our mission here is to buying a home is probably one of the most important investments that you'll make in a lifetime. And we're here to educate you and help you make some sound decisions. Today, we have a special guest by the name of Stacy Cusick, and she plays a very important role in real estate.
Stacy, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Anytime. Please tell us why you have a passion for insurance and how long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business for 13 years now, and I think it's just super important to make sure people have the proper insurance. Before I did insurance, I didn't really think there was too much to it. I would call up somebody, they would insure my home, my car for me, and I would be good to go. But there's really a lot of moving pieces, and you have to have the right person looking out for you. So I like helping people in that aspect.
Great.
Very nice. Now we're going to dig deep into some questions you should ask your insurance agent, and what is important of having homeowners insurance. What is the first step to consider when buying homeowners insurance? Do you shop multiple insurance carriers? How does that work?
I think it's important to look at different options. I have about 9 different home carriers that I work with, and some aren't the best fit for others. There are certain things that insurance companies like and they don't like. So it's important to get the right company and see different options for coverages and price.
Yeah, very important. I noticed just from with clients of my own, when I work with brokers for homeowners insurance, they seem to get some very competitive rates, and the service is just so much better.
Right. Now, Stacy, do you cover flood insurance? And can you give me a brief description of what it covers?
Sure, I do flood insurance. It can be either underwritten through FEMA, or a more affordable option is private flood insurance, which can be substantially less than through FEMA. One good thing about that also is it gives you higher coverages. FEMA only allows you to insure the home up to $250,000, whereas if you have private flood insurance, you can go up to the value of the home, and you have different options for contents. What a lot of people don't understand is just getting water in your basement is not a flood. So how people call me, they'll have a flooded basement and they'll want flood insurance. I explain to them, flood has to be 2 or more adjacent parcels or acres temporarily inundated by water. Otherwise, it does not go by the definition of flood for FEMA, and flood insurance would not work for them. So it's important to make sure if you're getting flood insurance that you realize what that will cover and what qualifies as a flood.
Now, just while we're on the flood insurance topic, how does one know that they need flood insurance? And if there's a discrepancy, can they alleviate that, or is there a way to check to see if they don't actually need it if it's not in a FEMA flood zone?
They can dispute it. Typically, they know because their lender tells them that they are in a flood zone. I have people call me occasionally, and I'll run it through the maps, and I'll see if they're in a flood zone. If they want to dispute it, they can try to get an elevation certificate, will work sometime, and there's an appeal process. But honestly, I don't see a lot of success with that, and it could be very time-consuming and somewhat costly.
Yeah, we did have a case like that with one of my clients in the past, and they got an elevation, and they went through the whole. It was a big deal because it was going to make or break the purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very important. So, Stacy, why does a homeowner need insurance, and is it always required by the lenders?
It's always required by the lenders, and even if you've paid off your mortgage, you should definitely have it. Your home is most likely your biggest asset, and you want to make sure it's protected. So the homeowner's insurance does a few things. It obviously covers the dwelling. It covers any of your belongings within the house. It gives you liability coverage, so should something happen on the premises, you don't get involved with a lawsuit. And it also covers things like additional living expenses. So if you can't be in the home for some reason, let's say there was a fire in the kitchen or a pipe burst, insurance will pay to put you up into temporary housing until you can get back in. So you're not relying on things like the Red Cross or friends to take you in. You have somewhere to go and your insurance will cover that for you.
Right.
Oh,
And if
perfect.
Sheronica and I have a buyer that needs homeowners insurance, what do you usually require from us, from say the lender and the home buyer to buying the policy?
Okay. From the lender, we get the mortgagee clause, so we have everything documented properly. Also, the lender will give us an indication of the purchase price and how much coverage that they require for the dwelling. And then the buyer, I go through all the different options with them, let them choose what might be best for them. And then we either take the payment upfront or at closing, again, usually what the lender dictate what they would like that to be done. And then we send over all the different documentation.
Perfect.
All right, great. Now, how are home insurance rates calculated? And how do I get my premiums lower?
Okay. The premiums calculate basically on the cost of the dwelling, which is an important thing. People tell me I ask a lot of questions when I'm talking to someone to do a quote, and I ask a lot of questions because I need to know the characteristics of the home, the quality of the things like the kitchen and the bathroom, the type of flooring, to make sure the replacement cost is accurate. As far as trying to keep the premium down, one thing is make sure you keep the property in good condition. Try to keep claims free. You can work with the deductibles a little bit, but you never want to make them too high that it's going to be uncomfortable should you have to pay that, should you have a claim. Some companies will allow you to take off some of the coverages, like if you don't want so much personal property, you don't have a lot of things in there, you can modify those. Those are a couple things you can do to keep the premium down for yourself.
And how do we know which deductible is best for the buyer? And how does that typically work?
Again, it's typically their choice. Some lenders will have a maximum they can't go over, but usually the lender can pick it. I would not suggest a percentage deductible if they can avoid it, because then each year when the dwelling value goes up, your deductible is going to go up. So a set deductible, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 is the way to go.
Okay, so would you choose the lower deductible or the higher deductible?
Typically on a homeowners, people will go with a higher deductible than they might do with auto insurance because there's less likely something to happen to your home, and they'll
Okay.
try to keep the premium down. I've had people go as high as $10,000. Again, if they're comfortable paying that out of pocket, should they have a claim, that's fine, but it's not the norm. Most people go with 1,000, 2,500 these days.
Okay, excellent. Now, this concludes today's session of Housing Talk with special guest Stacy Cusick. Thank you for joining us, Stacy, and I'm looking forward to our next interview.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Stacy. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications for a new episode of Housing Talk with John Ferrara and Sheronica Outlaw.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. Hope you learned some valuable information. And stay tuned for the second and final part of Housing Talk with special guest Stacy Cusick, airing on April 26th, Friday.
Thanks again, Stacy.
Thank you.